Happy Friday. I am super excited because this Friday, well, it's the first day of October, Kim.
It is, and
So,
this is my birth month, so I get very excited about October.
ooh, are you a Libra?
I am.
Oh,
I
she's a
am indeed.
Libra. It's okay. We won't get woo woo today on this Friday.
Totally.
I'm so excited because Kim and I became friendly because of Clubhouse. These are some of the joys of meeting new people through that new platform. And then she moved to Austin, and I was like, ooh, I want to meet her. And now I just love her because she's a total badass, total lady boss. She is killing it. I mean, Shark Tank, Inc., what Forbes, like I mean, what I don't even know how you get all these features, but that's what we're going to talk about today because you've done a really incredible job in branding yourself and bringing your voice to market. And we're going to talk about what you coined the career capital, your career capital. So, Kim, introduce yourself on this Friday.
I'm Kim Kaupe. I'm so happy to be here with you. It has been like a really dream come true to kind of meet people in real life in my new home in Austin, Texas. I moved from New York City. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 10 years, running my marketing agency. It's called Bright Ideas Only. I love it. And then about 2 years ago, I started to say, wait a minute. For the last 10 years, I've helped celebrities, music moguls, brands, sports teams. I've helped them all with relationships with their fans, with their consumers. I've helped them build their brands into these really big juggernauts. And I thought to myself, what if I could take the type of things that I'm doing with these amazing artists and these amazing brands and sports teams, and what if I could mold it in a way that would work for kind of the rest of us, kind of all of us people down here who are like, hey, we also have a need for that too, just in a different way. And so that's when I got really nerdy and invested into, okay, what does our career capital look like? How do we talk about our work? How do we show up online? How do we show up here on LinkedIn? Who are our networks? How are we digitally networking? Like all these things that how are we investing in ourselves? And so yeah, I coined this term career capital, and really it's about how are we investing in ourselves so that we appear like a good investment to other people as well.
Ooh, I love it, Kim. Um, So let's talk. Well, what's interesting is what you're talking about really is personal branding. Really, the essence of career capital is your personal brand, and all the work that you've done for some of the biggest artists out there is about those brands and how are they connecting with the super fans. And I love this idea of taking that personal brand and having it connect to real people. We're super in line here. So what are the elements of building your career capital? I know you have an awesome course coming up that like literally looks super awesome. She's only taking a few people. What are the elements of career capital in your mind?
In my mind, it came from a problem that I was seeing, and I'm sure you've seen it with friends or colleagues that you know, and we've all seen it, where you have somebody at work, maybe this is you, maybe this is your friend, and they are freaking awesome at their job. Like they are killer. They are the best designer or programmer or marketing person. But when you meet them maybe or at a party when they're talking about what they do, they're very humble. They don't come off like the rock star that they are. Or then maybe you meet them and you Google them because that's the first thing we do, right? When we meet somebody, we get on our phones and we Google them. And they show up on Google, and once again, they're not really looking like the rock star that they are. And so what I notice is with sometimes, ironically, some of the most talented people I know, some of the smartest people I know, sometimes the most successful people I know, there is a huge gap between their perceived value, so how other people meet them maybe at a party or if they Google them or whatever, and their actual value. And how do we bridge that gap between their perceived value and their actual value? And that's the bridge that I'm like, okay, we got to cross this bridge. And so I ran a beta a couple months ago. I took like 6 or 7 really talented friends and acquaintances of mine. And I'm like, we're going to make you into the rock star that you are publicly, because I know you're a rock star here, but we need other people to see that you're a rock star. And so that to me is something that I just don't think that we're taught very well. Although now, like, to totally geek out on you, I think we're seeing it a lot in online dating, right? It used to be that you would meet somebody at a party or through friends at the bar and you'd say, oh, that guy's cute, or oh, that girl's cute. Now, how do we date? On these. We're instantly swiping. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. No. We haven't met these people. You don't know the first thing about these people. That could be your future husband or your future wife that you're like, no. I looked at them for 2 seconds. No. And so my kind of dorky thesis theory, which you and I have talked about, is I really think that that is the canary in the coal mine. I think that that is going to come to friendships, which we've already seen with Bumble BFF. I think that's coming to the workplace. Maybe that's a little farther down the line, but that sort of instant evaluation, that instant I'm going to judge you based on what I'm seeing on my phone, that's going to start happening all around us. And so I'm really kind of shaking people, as are you, saying like, we got to pay attention to this now, because you think you don't need it, you think it's not important, and you think you can wait, but you actually can't, because it's right around the corner.
Oh my gosh, 100%. We always have our brand is always out there, right? Every interaction with your family, right? Your community. And then there's the whole online component where everything is so different. We're in a new age, Kim. Like, we're able to talk about this and actually have a business because of social media, right? And because of social networking, the internet and the World Wide Web. We're in a different place where, yeah, you're right. Like, in every moment, impressions are being made, and they're being made within 7 seconds, which is really fast. I assume on a dating app, actually, it's probably like 2 seconds.
It's so fast. It's so fast. And, we're seeing, I could get on the soapbox about attention spans and what we're seeing, but even on platforms like LinkedIn, we have these 30-second video covers now. That was one of their latest updates, like a month or 2 ago. And so we're seeing it. We're seeing like, what's my quick hit on you? I want to glance at your profile. What's my quick hit? What am I picking up? What can you do for me? What can you tell me? And so we're seeing that come to the workplace, and it's coming fast. That's for sure.
So where do you think people are going wrong about how they're building their career capital?
I think number one, they're thinking to themselves, it doesn't apply to me. Or I've never been in a situation where it applied. And I always say to that, like, that's exactly right. And that's the biggest problem. So if you are working at Bank of America, I don't know, insert whatever corporate job you want here. It could be someone who's like, you know what, we're looking for somebody to head up this new program. We're looking for somebody to promote into this new position. We're looking for somebody to present at the big sales meeting. Now, the problem is you're not actually in these rooms, so you can't advocate for yourself. But there's a group of people sitting around being like, maybe Jenny should head up that project. And someone's going, no, not Jenny. Maybe Robert should head up that project. So you're being discussed, you're being talked about, you're being evaluated, and you don't even know it. And they might go, yeah, you're right, Jenny, no good. Let's go with Robert. And so there are opportunities that you are not getting, that people are saying no to you, and you don't even know it. You have no idea. But people are saying no. No, she's not the right fit. No, it's not. She doesn't look like she can handle something like that. And so my whole thing is, when people say, well, it doesn't apply to me, I've never been, and I'm like, that's your problem. Someone's probably said no to you 3 times in the last 6 months for different opportunities or different things, and you have no idea. So you have to pay attention to it because you never know who's looking. You never know what opportunities are around the corner. And I think especially now in this weird time that we're in, whether you want to call it the great resignation, the great reshuffle. I mean, like there's lots of different names for it, but it basically means stuff at work's getting all mixed up. And so are you prepared for that mixing? And what do you look like when it starts happening?
Oh my gosh, I love it. And hi, Jay Lisa. Have you ever talked to Jay Lisa on Clubhouse?
I
Oh, she's
haven't.
awesome. Hey, girl. And of course, Josh is here. Hey, if you're listening, let us know where you're in from. You know, it's so interesting that you're bringing this up because literally this is happening to me. And it's always happened to me where I post right when I was in corporate and went out and I'm right here. We're here today, right? I don't know who's going to watch. I don't know who's going to see it. I caught up yesterday with my old manager at Microsoft. I reached out to her. I did the LinkedIn. I said, I just want to catch up with her. We haven't been a while. She's like, it's so funny. So-and-so I saw her. She said, oh, have you seen what Rachel's up to? Looks like she's doing amazing things. So they're talking about me, right? And then we have a conversation and then we're catching up and we're talking about new stuff. And so that's literally, I just experienced that, Kim, and what is that narrative? You want to control the narrative. So what I want the narrative to be is like, wow, she's up to amazing things. She's a badass. She's showing right? Like that, Kim, right? That's what we want because that's what draws in opportunities, promotions, clients, speaking opportunities. It's so relevant. Hey, Timmy. So, couldn't
100%.
agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically everything you said, which is people are going to talk about you. We're all humans, right? Everyone's talking about everybody. So you're going to get talked about, you're going to get discussed. People are going to make snap decisions about you. And you have one or two choices because we all have choices in life. You can go left, which is just by default. You're just going to show up however you want to show up, and maybe the opportunities come and maybe they don't. And the second road is you're going to do it by design. You're going to show up by design. You're not going to show up by default. You're going to show up by design. You are going to design. And it's the same thing. I think it's funny because we think about this all the time. You would never have people over to your house if your house was a mess. If you had like dirty socks in the living room and like dishes in the sink, you'd be like, oh crap, we got to like clean the house before people are coming over. Like our parents are coming over, whatever. Like we've got to go scurry around like crazy people for 30 minutes cleaning the house. And so it's amazing to me, whether it's a LinkedIn profile or resume or whatever, that I'm like, you guys got some dirty houses. You got some dirty houses, and you're like inviting people over, or you're like, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter if people stop by. Like, it's fine if they stop and pop in. Not in my house. I don't want people popping into my dirty house, looking at my dirty underwear, hanging out. Like, no. And so to me, it's like people are like, well, it doesn't matter. No one really looks at my LinkedIn. I listen, I love a good pop in. Friends are in the neighborhood. You're not popping in on a dirty house. Not in my watch. I'll shove it all in the closet and shut the door, maybe. But like, no, you're not coming into a dirty house. And so I think it's amazing how many people are like fine with like dirty houses.
Oh,
Bizarre.
That's a really good analogy. Good job, Kim. It's true though. It's true. And it's like, this is the reality. Whatever you're doing, at some point, you're going to want some job or you're going to want a promotion or you're going to want whatever you want. And your footprint online matters. So if you're not always thinking about it, then you're going to be like having the dirty house when people come. Some people might not care about the dirty house, but I'm with you. Because perceptions are everything. That is the reality. Whether you like it or not, what impression do you want to control that narrative or not?
Exactly. And listen, like, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things that we wish, would go away. I'm sure the music industry could go back in a time machine and like take away Napster, because then we would still be buying CDs. But for better or for worse, like these guys aren't going away. Like you're gonna get Googled. People are gonna go into your LinkedIn profile. Like I'm not saying that's right or wrong, that people maybe judge a book by its cover or judge you based on your Google results. I'm just saying cat's out of the bag, genie's out of the bottle. Like, we're not going back. So you can complain. You can say, well, I shouldn't be judged by my Google results. Like, well, I should be judged by how smart I am and how great I am for the job, not how, great my LinkedIn profile works. And I say, yeah, that's probably true. That's a true statement, but it's not how the world works. So like, I wish a lot of things were true, but that's not how the world works. So you can kind of either like be part of what's going on, or you can just keep complaining about it.
Absolutely. And what you're talking about too is your goals inside. When I talk about personal branding, isn't just the way others see you, which is a lot of what we're talking about. How are we going to control that? But also, like, what do you want? How do you see yourself? And so the examples you're giving around, that corporate environment where you think that you want this job, and then all of a sudden, I was just talking to somebody about this who literally applied for 15 different jobs at a big corporation and didn't get them. Why? What? Why? And so how are you showing up every day on those calls? And is it the vibe that you want to be giving off? And
Exactly.
that to me is an inside job.
It's a total inside job, and no one is going to advocate for you as hard as you will. Just like no one will probably judge you as much as you judge yourself, because we're all very mean to ourselves. No one is going to advocate for you as hard as you will. So in a weird way, I think a lot of times we're all sitting around, it's like we're back at school, and it's like the teacher's sitting there at the front of the room going, 2 plus 2, who knows the answer? And everyone in the class is like this. And so I'm out there saying, like, raise your hand, because
Yeah.
how are people supposed to call on you? You got to
Yeah.
raise your hand and say, like, I know the answer. I want the promotion. I want the award. I want, before we got on this call, we were talking about like the LinkedIn creator program, the creator fund that they just launched. Like, no one's going to write that application on behalf of Rachel or Kim. Kim has to write the application. Rachel has to write the application. Like, you have to advocate for yourself. Because if you're just waiting around for someone to pick you, if you're just waiting around for the teacher to call on you that you know the answer, good luck. Don't hold your breath. I mean,
Yeah.
I say this to like kind of be funny, but I also think it's true. Like, your career isn't kickball. Stop waiting to be picked. Like, I don't know where this like weird thing came from, that I'm like, one day my boss will pick me and magically give me a raise out of nowhere. Or like, one day I will be picked to win an award, even though nobody at that place knows my name. Like, we have to get out of this mentality of like waiting to be picked or like waiting to be called on. It's super toxic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you attract what you put out there too, right? I want to talk about because I'm super curious, your way in which you can put yourself out there for awards and speaking opportunities. You've done a really great job at getting yourself exposure without, like, you haven't paid for it, right? You know what I mean? Like, people have come to you for all of these opportunities. And so how are you helping? What is your sort of way to get yourself out there for speaking opportunities, awards, honors, etc.?
Yeah, I have a whole method to the madness for sure. And that's why I'm also really excited about this career capital program, because a lot of times it's like, I can teach you the frameworks. I can teach you everything how to do it, but I can't teach you in 15 minutes. Like, I can't teach you in 30 minutes, because it's stuff that took me years to figure out, and the frameworks that I've organized. So, to give you like a quick hit for someone who's like, I would even just say, like, this is the number one tip that I tell people. Like, if you do nothing else, look at other people who are in your industry or have your job, or maybe you look up to them. And again, it's like the name of my newsletter, and I harp on it all the time, but like, copy their homework. Like, nothing is proprietary. If I love what Rachel's doing and I see Rachel and I go on her LinkedIn and I see like, wow, Rachel has won, I'm making this up because I don't even know if this exists, but like top 40 under 40 person in Austin. Or Rachel has been recognized as one of the 100 top brand marketers in America by Brand Week magazine. I don't know. I can go see all the things that Rachel has won and Rachel has done. And in my head, I can be like, did I even know about these? Did I even know that those exist? So I always say, like, do your homework, go out, copy somebody else's homework. What awards are they winning? What things are they doing? And I would also say, set a reminder. I do this like every 6 months. I have a reminder set up in my calendar. It's a 2-hour block and it says, go stalk people. And that's kind of funny, but it's like go stalk people, go look through their LinkedIns, go look through their Twitter bios, go look through their Instagrams, because you'll see like, oh wow, like my friend Gage, she just won this Forbes 1,000 most interesting innovators. I didn't even know that list existed. I didn't even know that was a thing. And so even just setting aside time to recognize like what awards and opportunities are there, because there's lots, but you might just not even know what they are.
That's super smart. And having awareness for who you want to be, where do you want to go, right? Like to me, that is the essence of building your personal brand, is finding your niche and really knowing the field in which you want to play. So you're right. I get to look at other branding experts, marketing experts, entrepreneurs, but knowing that, right? Somebody else that might be a CEO at a healthcare company, right, should be thinking about something different. So you're really talking about too that you kind of need to know who you are before you're starting to think about awards and honors and speaking opportunities.
Totally. And I would say, it's also helpful. I would actually be curious what you think about this, Rachel, because I think for me, I think that not only obviously is career capital really important, but you sort of need a third party to come in and help you. And I'll use myself as an example. Like I hired one of my friends who is like a digital strategist and branding expert to come work with me for 6 months. Now you might say, well, Kim, that makes no sense. You've been doing this for 10 years. Like, why wouldn't you just do it yourself and save the money? And the reason is because I can't see myself objectively because I am myself. It's like the Matrix. Like I can't view myself the way other people view me because I am me.
Me,
And
yep.
so you have to have, I think, outside help, whether it's this career capital program or one of Rachel's programs or any other program. Like even if me, who's done this for 10 years and I've done this for like legit people, like big brands, big sports teams, and I hired someone to help me, even though people hire me to do this, because you're never objective when it comes to you. You're never impartial. It's actually impossible. So like, I'm curious for you, Rachel, did you feel like even when you were leaving corporate and starting this new initiative that you're like, I almost need a secondary person to help me with my stuff? I mean,
Oh
obviously you
yeah.
have Josh, so maybe that's a little different. Like he is a secondary person, but it's really hard to
Yeah,
do it
I mean,
yourself.
husband and wife and all that. But yes, I mean, you can't read the label from inside the jar. So yes, I had more of a life design coach to help me through that process, than working on the brand strategy per se. But you're 100% right. That's like one of the things I say all the time. I'm sorry, you just can't do this stuff alone. You
You
just
can't.
can't. You can't. To your point, it's not objective, right? You can't see it more than anything. You don't see how amazing you are usually.
Well, and
Most,
if you are, you're usually warped. You're usually warped. And
yes.
like, the example I always give people is if you've ever put on a new outfit and looked in yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, my hips look weird, or like, what is this collar doing? But you show it to someone else and they're like, you look great. You look fabulous. But you notice all these like weird, no one else does. So it's exactly what you said, whether it's this third party who's going to kind of help you look at your life or your work, or how you're coming into the career space. Like you never look at yourself objectively. You just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's such a great point, and it's I feel like we're in the right place at the right time, Kim, because you know, when I talk to, because I bring on branding experts on here and all the amazing people, it's like this is the time where you matter. Your voice matters, your brand matters. In no time has it been more important. The people that are working in corporate, they don't know what to do with their employees. Employees are leaving left and right. They have no attach to the companies. So the companies have the opportunity to actually advocate for the employees. Ooh, think about that. And so now it's like you as an employee think about like, wow, I have like a lot of power right now. And so what am I going to do with it? What can I create with it? It's like if you take your course, which I highly encourage people to do because Kim's so awesome, like your life could literally change. You're going to be like, wait a minute, I can actually go after something totally different than where I'm at right now.
100%. And it's so funny. And I always love using this example because I think a lot of times people say, well, it must take so much work, or it takes, 1,000 sit-ups to get even one part of the six pack. And sometimes I say, like, you can make leaps and bounds in a very short amount of time. So I love giving this example, but I did this 45-minute workshop for a company, and I came in and I was talking exactly about what you said, like how to, build your career capital, specifically how to optimize your LinkedIn. And this is something that you do too, Rachel. And so like I came in and I was like, it's 45 minutes. And I literally said to people, I start off by saying 90% of you won't do what I tell you to do. You just won't. You'll say, like, that's a nice girl. Some of those tips were helpful. Maybe I'll do one of them. But it's like class, right? Like how many people are doing the extra credit? A couple of the dorky ones like me that sit in the front row. Like, and so I said there's like 10% of you on this call, there's hundreds of people on the call. I said there'll be 10% of you that actually do what I tell you to do, and you're going to be shocked. And I did that. That was in June of 2020. I did this whole thing. And I got a text about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And it was for the friend who had hired me to do this session. And she said, I had to show you this text message that I got. And the text message was for someone who was watching the 45-minute webinar. And she had said, I was kind of one of the 90. Like, I kind of wasn't going to do the things that Kim said. And like, I wrote the notes, but like, I just didn't do it. And she's like, and then about 4 weeks later, my husband lost his job. He had had that job for 15 years. Obviously, with COVID, there were massive layoffs, furloughs, etc. Lost his job. And she said, and I remembered, oh, wait, I took all those notes that crazy girl Kim said. Let me help my husband. Let's get on his profile and let's do it. And she did. She got out her notes and they went through it. Lo and behold, they had recruiters out the yin yang. Long story short, about 6 weeks later, he had a new job. He had a better job with 5 people working under him. He could hire his old team, which, by the way, he went back to the old job to his other teammates that got fired and hired them over to this new gig. And he was getting paid $60,000 more than he was at the old job. This was a 45-minute session with me. This was not 10 weeks. This was not 100 hours, 45 minutes. And so I say that story because I'm like, there are going to be people who watch this. And I'm like, again, 90% of you won't do the things that Rachel and I talk about. But if you actually do them, I'm going to end up getting a text from you because I know they
Yeah.
work, because they've worked for other people. They've worked for me. They've worked for Rachel. Like, we know these things work, but you have to do them. And I
Oh my
can't do them for
gosh.
you, and
Yeah.
Rachel can't do them for you. Like, you have to do them for yourself.
Yeah. And the reality is like if you don't do it, it will bite you until that moment when you lose the job, right? Or your rent is getting paid and you don't have that payment and you're like, shit, I have no network, right? How have I been showing up? And then it's in those moments that you're like, ah. So I think the lesson from today is that you matter. Your brand matters, your voice matters. And for you to build a career you love and have that career capital, you need to invest the time in it, right? Impressions matter. You need to put forth the effort. Kim is a total badass. She has a LinkedIn learning class. So you should check that out. and this new career capital. By the way, I'm going to sign up for your newsletter. I love that idea. Copy my homework. Genius.
Copy my homework.
She's pretty good content creator, by the way. She's pretty
Well,
funny. You should
listen,
watch her stuff.
Man, that's why we're fast friends, because you have great content too. So we're two
Working
peas in
on
a good
it. You know, I have to
content pod.
catch up. I'm catching up to you, Kim. Just like looking at you, I'm like, she's so awesome. See, and I also want to note that like Kim and I work in the same space, right? But like different, and we're friends. Like it's really important too that we create an economy, a creator economy, in a place where this isn't competitive, right? This is together. Our voices can be stronger, and we can bring more people along. There is plenty for all of us. Plenty of people to go into her core, plenty of people to come into our masterclass. Like, this is really about creating a really awesome community, especially on LinkedIn, right? And we're really excited about the LinkedIn opportunities in particular. But
100%. A rising tide lifts all ships.
it
The bigger the
does.
creator economy gets, the better for all of us.
It really does. It really does. So, Kim, thank you so much for being here today. She dropped the links on here for you to check it out. Don't miss out. It's in October 18th. Is that when it started?
That's when we start, but applications close next Friday, a week from today.
Okay, so it's application based. So don't miss out on this. And thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. This was super fun. We have to do this again soon.
Yeah, duh.
I love it.
All right, everybody. Have a great Friday. We'll see you next time.
See ya.